Hey guys, this is Claudio Giuliano here, and today I am excited to be coming at you with this new review. And today we are going to be reviewing the 2017 Microsoft Surface Pro. Today we are going to be reviewing the Core i5 model, which has no fan. So to give you guys a little bit of history, I've been a Surface user for many years. I've been a user since the first generation. And I was one of the early creative professionals who adopted Surface and started to showcase what the Surface did and how it was changing the game for me in terms of my work and business. And I started to do this in the early days of Instagram. And at this time, about 90% of the platform was made up of creators and artists of all kind. And this was also where a lot of the people who followed my work for many years would come to directly interact with me. And that is where I would be showcasing how the Surface was changing the work for me and changing the way I did the work. And I started to see a lot of the people who I interacted with, hundreds and hundreds of artists, started to also adopt the Surface. And it was a great thing that this was happening organically. And Surface came at a time where I was working on and in the middle of some of my largest projects in the film industry. And it came at a time where I was in pretty desperate need of a tool that did what it did. And I used Surface up until 4th generation. And it was a thing where, you know, the 4th generation came and it felt like it was going to be that next evolution notch from the Pro 3. But they had some roadblocks and they lost me on the Pro 4. And you guys, if you've been with me a bit, you know what my synopsis has been here from the year the Pro 4 came to now. And things got a bit blurry and it wasn't clear if the vision would be achieved. It wasn't clear if it would be possible to really pull off their vision. And a lot of the other stuff also that came the year the Pro 4 came also fell short. And we started to kind of see this pattern where, at least in terms of the tools for the creative professional, we started to have these tools out there that just weren't able to get the work done. And we showcase that here on the channel. We've showcased it. We've showcased it, of course, on Instagram over the years. So a lot of the stuff that I have tested in depth and have done deep analysis on, we have discovered that in 9 times out of 10, the tool wasn't able to actually do the work. The important work, the work for your clients, the big work, the high resolution work, the large scale work, the stuff that we all, you know, look for in a tool, that the stuff that we need a tool to achieve for us. And pretty much these things have fallen short over the years. So today, this review excites me. And this discovery excites me because the 2017 Surface Pro is Microsoft's best work. And the 2017 Surface Pro is Microsoft and the Surface team's original vision realized. And that's why this is really exciting. Microsoft and the Surface team have achieved their original vision with the 2017 Surface Pro. And they have achieved that next evolution notch. And today we're going to break down the logical reasons. We're going to break it down for the how and the why. And of course, we're going to approach this from the standpoint of the creative professional. So I've been taking you around the product here just to kind of show you the hardware, because there's refinement here and there's meaningful change and meaningful evolution. First thing I want to show you is let's just look at the profile view here. It's really, at this point, and especially when we go deeper and I show you what this thing can actually do, it's really an engineering marvel that this thing is this thin, because this one is really thin. The i5 that has no fan, it's really a marvel that there is a full desktop PC in this. And it's really a marvel that this thing has ports and a kickstand and it's still this thin. The refinement here and evolution is meaningful. The Surface team is now achieving the micro level of detail. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you are an OCD nut, and I tend to believe that all creators and artists and designers are OCD nuts, and I think it stands for obsessive creation disorder. I think all of us creators have OCD, and if you pay attention to the details here, and if you've been using it for a while, past generations, you'll notice the changes here. The entire tool, when you pick it up in your hand, has a new softer finish and softer feel, and that's noticeable. The corners are more rounded, and that makes a big impact. And they are achieving that micro level of detail where everything is lining up seamlessly. Really, the definition of design can be found within the Surface, because everything here is done with purpose. Everything here is done from the core foundational aspects of design. Everything is designed for form and function, and it all lines up seamlessly in the 2017 Surface Pro. And even other things that were noticeable to me, like the glass perfectly lining up and being seamless now. And the seams of the product are also perfectly lined up. They're achieving a micro level of detail. Now, when it comes to the new pen, you know, this is an area that I've used the Surface Pen for years. So I'm very, very familiar with the Surface Pen. And this is something I've been critical about over the years. And this is something that I felt Microsoft and the Surface team just didn't get right over the years. And I'm excited to let you guys know this year the Surface team has gotten the pen right. And that kind of makes up for the fact that it's not included with the Surface anymore. Because what you now get is one of the best input technologies out there. The new Surface Pen is finally designed with the artist at the forefront, so it feels awesome in hand. The design, if you look at it, might look like the old pen at first glance, but it's actually a completely different design. We have a bigger barrel on this pen. The pen is a bit longer. We have a different tip architecture. We still get the two buttons. We get the eraser button, the eraser, and we get the side switch. We have a new tip architecture. This is 4,000 plus pressure levels and tilt functionality built within. So feels great in the hand. The new design is exactly what the Surface Pen needed. Now it is fantastic, and we're going to talk about that in depth as we go on in the review. The new Alcantara Type cover looks awesome, and it all around is completely refined. And if you've been with Surface a while, you know they've always kind of played around with different fabrics, but the Alcantara is definitely the right choice. So you can tell that this is going to stand the test of time. You can tell that it's going to, you know, be a fabric that's made for longevity. Plus, it just looks the nicest out of all of the old fabrics that they've used over the years. But more importantly, the entire type cover is completely redesigned from the ground level here in the Alcantara type cover, because it's much more solid than past type covers. Past type covers used to kind of have a bit of a flimsy feel. This cover doesn't have that. The Alcantara has this new solid feel, so there's no bend or give to it. In the center, there's no bend at all. It just feels solid. And because of that, that makes the entire typing experience feel refined. And they've also made refinement to the keys. You get this really nice, soft feel, great glass trackpad that works beautifully. The entire new type cover experience is one of my favorite typing experiences. Now, we get the same port layout. No USB-C. I know some of you guys wanted that. For me, that's not really a big issue. Now, what struck me and what kind of took me back was when I picked it up, I couldn't believe how light the i5 is. and how great it felt in hand in both portrait and landscape modes. And that is for a couple different reasons. The i5, of course, has no fan, and it shaves off some weight, it shaves off some thinness. The weight is distributed much better in the 2017 Surface Pro. It's super thin, and the rounded corners allow the tool, when you pick it up, it just feels natural in the hand. It makes a big impact, those corners being rounded, and that little bit of weight that they did shave off makes an impact too. I was taken back by how light it was when I picked it up. And I was coming from i7 models that had fans, and their weights, the Pro 3 weight, the Pro 4 weight, was noticeably heavier than what you get in the i5 model, which has no fan. So very solid refinement. And if you look there, you'll see how the glass lines perfectly up now. Now, of course, the keyboard cover still attaches magnetically, and this is what the Surface team pioneered, with the magnetic attachment powering the keyboard. We still get that great angle, and when you attach it, it comes together beautifully. And, it just looks great, but it is serving the function, and it's getting the function totally right here. And the process of picking up the Surface, grabbing it, and going is still there, and it's done better than ever. This is the best version of it. This is true refinement here, and this is true evolution. It's the best work they've done, and the refinements in design and the evolutions in design are very impressive. We still get the magnetic attachment for the pen, and it is also stronger than it's ever been. You can really kind of tug the pen around and it won't come off. So, this is great for artists who are in the middle of working. The magnetic attachment there is very good to have, and one of my favorite parts. Now, here is one of my real favorite parts of the 2017, the new kickstand. I'm so glad that they redesigned the kickstand from the ground up. There, if you notice how that went down, as I pushed it down with one finger, if you noticed, there's this new mechanical movement to the kickstand. It's reminiscent actually of the Surface Studio. So it has this new mechanism which when the kickstand goes down, it goes down in this kind of mechanical manner in which you can get that down with just the push of one finger, and now it goes to any angle and then almost totally flat. And then when we pick it, when we go back up to go to our upper positions, when we pull it back, we can feel how extra solid it is this year. You can feel the new parts working. You can feel that we have major refinement to the kickstand. I'm so happy they did this, because this was another thing that I always felt was not right in any generation of the Surface. I always felt the kickstand was just not there. In the past, the kickstand used to be flimsy and flop around and make noise, and sometimes the center of it would bow outwards. So this generation, the 2017, gets the kickstand totally right. It functions in a new way, and that new way that it functions definitely caters to the creator, and it's one of my favorite parts. Really is. We still get the small charging unit. I think it was this size the whole time. I don't remember if it was bigger in past generations, but either way, it's nice, it's small, it's compact. You still get the USB charger, charging unit there, built right in, and nice to have, very easy to take with you. So, not adding a lot of bulk when it comes to taking it with you. And this is really what you want. You want a nice compact charging unit. Now, we're going to log in here, and we're going to use Windows Hello, because that's what's built in. We have the facial recognition camera. We're in low light, and you see how quickly that logged us in. Windows Hello is very impressive, and it's definitely better than it's ever been before, because on the Pro 4 it really failed a lot. On the 2017 Surface, I would say it works about 98% of the time. Very impressive and really cool that it works this well. So it's very streamlined. this is definitely one of the best displays in the industry. I would say in the top three. You know, the display has always been gorgeous. I mean, always. Surface always had a beautiful display since Pro 3. But this generation here is extra gorgeous. It has the wide color gamut, so you're getting really natural contrast ratios and numbers here. And again, I go into displays in detail because we're talking about displays for the creative professional, and this is one of the most important parts of the machine for us. So I feel that the display is a very important part of the entire tool for us creatives, and this display gets it right. So wider color gamut, you can see it in the rich contrasts in the oranges, the reds. You can see it in the deeper blacks, and that enhanced color mode is on by default. Now, if you noticed when I had the settings menu up, which was, you can see that all black UI there, you can see we're not seeing any light leak here, and that's because you don't really see light leak when you are at normal working brightness levels. And when it comes to an LCD panel, some have more light leak than others. That's kind of just how it goes. And unless you blast, if you do get a unit that has some light leak, you'll only notice it when you blast the screen to 100%. Or you'll notice it when the machine starts up, because when the machine starts up, it blasts to 100%. I don't know why they do that on startups. I think they shouldn't do that at all. I think they should not blast the brightness up like that, because it's misleading in terms of the light leak. So in terms of light leak, I wouldn't worry. If you get one that's like extra bad, just get a replacement then, if that's the case. But you should know that LCDs often get light leak, and in all of the stuff I've tested, I've seen light leak on every machine from every product maker. So anyone that makes similar tools. Okay. Now we're going to go straight into power, and I have Photoshop open here, and this is where it gets impressive. This is a first of a kind. So we have a 15 by 15 at 300 dpi. You guys know I've showcased Photoshop in depth over many years and on portable machines. And what we have seen is the majority of them always failed. This is a 15 by 15 at 300 dpi. This is a large canvas. And as you can see, we have a specialty brush here working with no lag. Of course, we also get tilt here. Photoshop is very nicely set up for the Surface Pen's tilt. I want to go through a couple different brushes to show you it's not just one brush here. All the specialty brushes work and they don't lag here. And this is part of the power that the 2017 Surface Pro has. And what this is showing us is the 7th generation chip really it's impressive. It's very impressive for the creative professional. And it's showing us that Moore's Law is really intact here, because all past generation chips done by Intel were not able to achieve this, that have integrated graphics. And this is impressive because we have performance with the 2017 Surface Pro that mimics a discrete graphics card. And we have performance that mimics a quad-core chip. That's what's so impressive with this. And this is an i5. This is the i5 with no fan. And we are just in, our standard power mode here as I showcase this. We can push this for high power and go even further. We could work in low power, but here in the standard power, it's plenty. And the amazing thing is we get incredible battery life on top of that. We're going to talk about that a little bit later as we go further with the performance test. Now I'm showcasing you tilt, and for the first time in a while, Photoshop actually feels great, and it feels great with the new Surface Pen. The new Surface Pen has great tilt functionality. It works how you want it to work. And in Photoshop, it works great. It's totally set up for it, and it feels fantastic. So I'm just kind of showcasing you a couple things here with pencils and tilt. We're getting really great latency. Oh, one thing that's very important that you have to do. If you are a creator, you're going to want to make sure that you download the latest graphics driver from Intel. You have to do this manually because it's not going to work if you just try to update the driver through Windows. It doesn't work like that. You would have to wait for the Windows update that comes in, which could come in at any time. So you will have to install the Intel graphics driver manually. You can do a Google search for it. You want to get the latest driver. You want to install it by disk, okay, in the device manager area. And once you get that in, that is what unlocks the power of the GPU that is combined with the CPU here. And you'll need that. You'll need that to get the proper performance in Photoshop. You'll need that to get the proper performance in Illustrator, in PaintStorm, and all that. Now here's PaintStorm Studio, which we know is hefty software. Now we have a 15 by 15 300 DPI. We have a large brush here. We have a 300 pixel brush, and I want to show you how we're performing here. So you can run your creative softwares in three ways. You can run for low power, you could run for medium power, and you can run for high power. And the really cool thing and versatility about using the desktop and using a system like Surface is the versatility here, that you can float in and out of these power modes, and that will go link back to battery life. We're going to talk about that in a little bit as well. So, you know, PaintStorm's hefty software, and I want to, we're going to demo the power that we get here with the 7th generation chip. And this is really impressive stuff. And this is stuff I've never seen achieved on any portable system in the past that I have tested. Especially, I've never seen this achieved on integrated. Now, we're going to bump this complex brush up. And as you know, PaintStorm has an extremely complex blending engine and extremely complex brush engine. Now we're pushing up to 400 plus pixels with no lag, and this is just in the medium power mode, okay? And this is super impressive. Let's go to a more complex brush. This is something that has a lot of dynamics built in, a lot of texture built in, and really deep analog mimics and dynamics here. As you can see, no lag. Now, you have to get the WinTab drivers if you want to use PaintStorm with the Surface Pro. You'll need the WinTab drivers to get your pen input correctly. We're working on getting it set up for the new pen, so it supports the dynamics and tilt. But so there'll be some quirks right now, but with the WinTab drivers, you will get a working experience, and that's what I'm showing you here. You won't get tilt yet, but you'll get a working experience in PaintStorm with the WinTab drivers. And all around, it's just really impressive. And I'm going to sketch out some things here. I want to show you some things in terms of the pressure and the initial activation force, which is something really, really big for the new Surface Pen. We get great initial activation force here. And that is greatly improved, and it feels natural now. And that was one of the big problems with the old Surface Pens. They just did not get the initial activation force right. The new pen gets it right, so really good. Really nice to see this. So in terms of the power modes and stuff, this goes back to heat as well. The other incredible thing, and remember, this is a Core i5 and this has no fan. What you're seeing here is this is not a normal Core i5. This is a special Core i5. This Core i5 achieves things that I haven't seen past generation quad core 47-watt i7s achieve what we're seeing here, that this 7th generation chip is doing. So it's a combination of a bunch of things, but this also goes back to power and heat. Now, if you guys use PaintStorm on anything portable, you know PaintStorm creates a lot of heat, and it can make things burn you. For example, with the MacBook Pro with Touch Bar, if you run PaintStorm on that, it actually will get burning hot. The amazing thing with the Core i5 Surface Pro, even if you're running for medium power to high power, the i5 doesn't throttle. It doesn't go beyond a certain threshold of heat, and it stays at that warmth level and doesn't go beyond it. It'll either lower itself down and cool off, or go back to that medium level of warmth, and it just stays there. The other cool thing is, it doesn't burn you at all. It's not hot. It's just this medium level of warmth. And the way that they've worked the cooling out here on the Surface 2017, it also doesn't badly impact the display, or at least it doesn't impact every part of the display. It more so will be felt on the actual bezels. So it's just very good cooling. Very good cooling here. Now, as I was saying with the power modes, if you run in low power, and this is why it's important to install the graphics driver, for what, like I'm doing here, just sketching, doing thumbnails, setting up the work, if you don't have to run PaintStorm in high power, medium power modes, and most cases you won't. In fact, you can actually do high resolution painting in low power mode and still get decent performance with PaintStorm. So what I'm saying is that Intel driver, getting that in manually, is going to give you the Intel hub, which will allow you to actually manually control your graphics. When you go down to low power modes, you can actually run PaintStorm basically cold. And when you do that, you will get super long run times on the battery of PaintStorm. And you'll basically be running PaintStorm similar to how it feels on the iPad. And it's just awesome that you can pull that off. Really quick here, barely putting down any pressure on the pen, and you see that how it's activating there. So great force, great initial activation force. But it's the battery life here on this 2017 Surface Pro is extremely impressive, and this is something we've never seen before. We've never seen the power come together with the battery life, and when we account for how razor thin this thing is, with all the versatility built in, kickstand, touch, mouse input, pen, type cover, I mean, it just adds this level of versatility I feel that we just haven't had before in a versatile tool, in a mobile tool, in a portable tool. And the versatility here is just absolutely incredible. And now we are seeing power within the Surface Pro, within the i5 unit. We're seeing power that we just haven't seen before on the Surface. We're seeing power that directly competes with quad-core discrete graphic combos. Now, I'm not talking a 1080 card, something like that, and this is not going to probably, suit you for gaming, but for creative work, for creation, and what I'm showing you here, impressive. It competes with the quad-core discrete combos. Now, here I want to show you really quick iPad performance. I'm still impressed with iPad, still one of my favorite art tools, and but we have to show this because I've unearthed some realities and truths, and that is we just can't compare mobile benchmarks to desktop benchmarks, at least not in current recent times. You can compare the iPad Pro to older generation chips, but the 7th generation chip, it's not comparable. There's too many variables. You can't compare these benchmarks, the desktop benchmarks. The desktop, it's just much more powerful. The Surface Pro can pretty vastly outperform the iPad Pro. It's just a reality. It just is what it is. The iPad Pro is still extremely impressive, extremely powerful in terms to even be able to pull off a 15 by 15 at 300 DPI and go to that threshold of like 150 pixel brush and not get lag. But if you go above the 150 there, you'll see, you saw that we get lag. Now, Illustrator works great. It works better with the pen, but it's still not set up for pen input. It never was set up for any pen input, so it's not often used with a pen. But for working classically, especially with a mouse, which is how I work in Illustrator, and that's very important to my process, works great. Everything else, touch, speed, opening, close times, fast read and write times, especially fast for high resolution raster stuff. So just all around fast, snappy performance here with the 2017 Surface Pro. Very impressive performance. So we're getting great battery life. And for the first time, we're seeing the power and the battery life line up. So it's really impressive. So Photoshop, Illustrator, Clip Studio, Paint, PaintStorm Studio, long battery run times. For PaintStorm, when you run it in the way that I showed you, you can pull the same battery run times as Photoshop, Illustrator, and Clip Studio Paint, which is like 8.5 to 9 hours of runtime. If you go medium power, you lose a little bit of battery life. You'll probably pull 6.5 hours in PaintStorm on medium, but still not bad for PaintStorm. Also, another awesome thing, the 2017 Surface Pro is now fully lappable. The new Kickstand design allows you to lap the Surface with no problem. It doesn't feel weird on the lap. It feels totally comfortable now. That's due to the new Kickstand design and the new type cover. So this is really awesome to see, because it always felt weird on the lap. Doesn't anymore. And in terms of reality of usage for the battery, everyday use, real world use, you don't have to think about battery life. You can pick up your Surface, grab and go, and you don't have to worry about your battery life with the 2017 Surface Pro, and this is awesome. And that is how we come to the conclusion of the original vision of the Surface team being realized in the 2017 Surface Pro. This one really impressed me, and as someone who used Surface from the first generation, and seeing that vision, and then that vision getting blurry, and saying to myself, well, I'm not sure if this is meant to be. I'm not sure if they can pull this off. Seeing them realize the vision and achieve it now in 2017 is great. It's great for anyone who is a creative professional. It's great for longtime Surface users. It's just great to see that the vision is now clear. And when you have this much versatility in a tool, when you have a full-blown desktop PC and something that's this thin, this light, with this much versatility, kickstand, pen, touch, trackpad, mouse, pick it up, grab it, and go. Take it with you anywhere, all-day battery life. When you have something that has this much versatility built in, it's hard to say, I don't want to use that as a creator. So it's just really cool to see that the Surface team has achieved their original vision. Surface is a tool that comes around only so often, and it's one of those game changers. It's one of those that changed the game and made a major impact on the industry. How do we know that? Well, we can just look at the state of the portable industry and see the vast amount of Surface clones that are out there. That only happens when you have a game changer, when you've created a game changer. And that's what the Surface has always been. And now the fog is out of the way. The vision is clear, so we can see far past the horizon. And that means within the 2017 Surface Pro, you can find the future of the PC. You can find the future of the personal computer within the 2017 Surface Pro. You can find the future of Windows within it. You can find the evolution of the PC, the transformation of the PC within the 2017 Surface Pro. And this was a really important one for them to get right. And they got it right. And it's delivering a first of a kind experience. When you have a tool that has this much versatility built within it, kickstand, pen, touch, so thin, super light, take it anywhere, all day battery life, you're achieving something very different when you combine the power that this has, being a full desktop system, with the power that's built within it. We have a lot of innovation here, a lot of meaningful change in the 2017 Surface Pro. All the important things, all of the things I called for, all of the things I've asked for over the years since I stopped using the Surface are now built within the 2017 Surface Pro. This is their best work by far, and I can highly recommend this to the creative professional. This has become one of my favorite creative tools. Guys, I want to thank you for tuning in today. I greatly appreciate you guys. I greatly appreciate those who have helped the channel expand and grow. I love getting to interact with you guys outside of YouTube on the other networks. Love getting to talk to you guys and see your work. You guys have so much talent and such cool people. We're all very similar, so I just greatly appreciate you, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you learned something new about the 2017 Surface Pro. If you know anyone who would be interested in the 2017, I would love if you shared it with your friends. If you can give it a like, comment, subscribe, that would be fantastic. I really appreciate you guys. Have a great day.